Welcome to today's Sutta study. So you all are very fortunate that you joined today because today we're going to be learning and discussing about one of the greatest things that a person can listen to in this world. Okay, so it is a continuance of what we were talking about last time. And last time we talked about the Paccaya Sutta, and in that sutta, the Supreme Buddha taught that in order for a person to become a stream entrant, that person has to have a very clear, direct, complete understanding of the Paticca Samuppada or dependent origination. So I thought today I will go on in that same track, in that same path, and choose a sutta where you will be able to learn and understand the Paticca or dependent origination a little bit more. So explain it. Okay. The Supreme Buddha teaches, or because if a person sees me, that person has seen or realized the dependent origination. If a person has seen or realized the dependent origination, then that person has seen me. So if you truly want to know who the Supreme Buddha is, then the way to do now, the Supreme Buddha is not alive today. But when the Supreme Buddha was alive, the Supreme Buddha said that if a person can truly understand this process of how this samsaric journey works, which is known as dependent origination or paticca in Pali, then that is the person who sees me meaning the Supreme Buddha. Okay, so if you truly want to see the Buddha, this is the way, this is the path. If you see the Buddha truly from the bottom of your heart, then the Supreme Buddha himself guarantees that not only will you see the Buddha, but you will also see Nibbana, you will also attain Nibbana. Okay, so that's why I said you all are very fortunate that you get to listen to this and at least form a pleasant mind about this teaching. So in the Supreme Buddha's teaching, there's a whole section of teachings or suttas on Paticca, and that section is found in the Samyutta Nikaya. In the Samyutta Nikaya, Abhisamaya Samyutta. In that Samyutta, you can find many suttas which the Supreme Buddha explains about dependent origination. So I chose the sutta in that Samyutta. So this is in the Samyutta Nikaya, Abhisamaya Samyutta, which teaches about the origination. Okay, and the name of this sutta is called Pacchupanna Sutta. Okay, so it's a little bit of a difficult name to remember. Pacchupanna Sutta. Okay. So in this sutta, the Supreme Buddha teaches, "O bhikkhus, I will teach you dependent origination. O bhikkhus, I will teach you dependent origination and dependently arising phenomena." Okay, what does the Supreme Buddha teach? Oh, because I will teach you dependent origination and dependently arising phenomenon. Okay, what that means is dependent origination and things that are formed from a cause. So that is called cause and effect phenomena. Okay, listen well and consider this wisely. I will teach you. Okay, so the bhikkhus there who were gathered there, they said, "Yes, Venerable Sir." And at that moment, the Supreme Buddha taught this sutta. Okay, the Supreme Buddha teaches bhikkhus, what is dependent origination? So here now, today I'm using two books. One is an English translation and The other one is a singular translation. Because I looked at many translations and I found that the singular translation is the most clear to me. So if what I'm teaching is what I'm reading is not clear to me, I can't teach you clearly. So therefore, I'm using two books today. So the Supreme Buddha teaches bhikkhus, what is dependent origination? And Supreme Buddha teaches bhikkhus, with birth as condition, aging and death comes to be. So listen to this carefully and remember this carefully. So the way the Supreme Buddha teaches what dependent origination is like this. For bhikkhus, dependent on birth or with birth as condition, aging and death comes to be. Because now we talked about what dependent origination is last time. We learned about the cycle, right? So we are starting here from something that we can relate to, and that is aging and death. Aging and death is something that we all know, we can relate to, is something we experience. Okay, so the reason that there is aging, what does aging mean? What does aging mean? Aging mean as life goes on, our ears, our eyes, our body starts to turn weak. Okay, the hair starts to grow gray. The eyesight starts to weaken. Hearing starts to weaken. And our teeth start to break, right? And with time, what happens is the vitality of this body weakens, and then there comes death. Okay, so the Supreme Buddha teaches the condition, the cause behind this is birth. It's because of birth that there is aging and death. Understand? From the moment a person is born, that person experiences aging. Because now in the normal world, we say we are aging when we are in our 60s or 70s. Right? But that's not true. From the moment we are born, we are aging, we're experiencing this aging. Okay? Little by little, aging is occurring, but we only feel it when we are in our 50s or 60s, when that aging really affects us. Okay, so the reason that there's aging and death in this world is because of birth. And the Supreme Buddha teaches because whether a Tathagata arises in this world or not, okay, whether Tathagata means a Supreme Buddha, whether Supreme Buddha arises in this world or not, this is a natural phenomenon that happens. Understand? So whether Buddha arises or not, if there's birth, there is aging. It is a natural phenomenon. So remember that teachers, this is a natural principle in this world. It's not something that somebody can stop. You cannot stop it. Okay? This is a result of cause and effect. If the cause is there, the effect is there. You cannot stop it. But the difference is that when a Tathagata arises, when a Supreme Buddha arises, the Supreme Buddha realizes this point. When a Supreme Buddha arises, the Supreme Buddha understands this point, realizes this point. And the Supreme Buddha reflects with wisdom and completely realizes this point. And after realizing this natural phenomenon, the Supreme Buddha teaches it to the world. Teaches it, introduces it, establishes it, and opens it up to the world so that others could also realize this. Understand? So unless a Buddha appears into this world, although this is a natural phenomenon, that is because of birth, there is aging and death, nobody realizes this. Nobody understands this natural principle unless a Buddha appears and teaches it to the world. Right? Because if a person can understand this phenomenon on their own, then we should have understood this dependent ordination by now. Why? Because we have been reborn again and again in this samsara. Right? How many times have we become born in this world? How many times have we aged? Right? Unless a Buddha appears and teaches this and points it out, it's because of birth that we all experience aging and death. We cannot understand this. So the Supreme Buddha teaches the first of the Paccaya is when there's birth, there's aging and death. That is clear. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches, O bhikkhus, this natural phenomenon of where there's birth, there is aging and death is the truth. It's something that never becomes untrue. And it's something that never changes. Understand? This is an eternal truth. That's why nobody in this world can reverse this. That's why when the Supreme Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths in the first sermon, when the Supreme Buddha taught the Dhamma in the first sermon, the Supreme Buddha said, the Dhamma Chakra or this Dhamma wheel cannot be reversed. Nobody can reverse it. Nobody can change it. Why? Because the Supreme Buddha teaches the eternal truth. So nobody can challenge it. Nobody can say it's untrue. Okay. So the Supreme Buddha explains the fact that aging and death is conditioned by birth is an eternal truth in this world which does not change. It does not change with time. It's the same in the past, it's the same in the future, and it's the same now. Okay. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches, or bhikkhus, the cause or the condition for birth is existence. What's the condition for birth? Existence. Existence in Pali, we call it bhavo. Okay, and the Supreme Buddha explains what bhavo means. Existence means arranging of karma. Okay, existence means arranging of karma. So when there is the arranging of karma, there is rebirth, there is birth. Okay, so now we are born, right now we are born. Okay, why were we born then? Because there was the arranging of karma. Because of arranging of karma, we were born. The Supreme Buddha teaches there are three types of existence. Karma bhava is one. Okay. Rupa bhava is one. Arupa bhava is one. So there are three types. So now these are things you should definitely remember. Okay. Karma bhava, Rupa bhava, Karma bhava, Rupa bhava, Arupa bhava. You know, I will explain what this means. Karma bhava means arranging of karma such that you're reborn in a world of sensual pleasures. It's called a sense sphere existence. Sense sphere existence means in a world where you can see, where you find an opportunity to please your senses. So there is that connection with sensual pleasures. So now, for example, we are born in a world of sensual pleasures. The human world is a world of sensual pleasures. The Deva world is a world of sensual pleasures. even in the ghosts, even the bad world, they belong to the karma bhava, because there's those sensual pleasures. Even animals experience sensual pleasures. Okay? But those worlds are worlds of misery, but they belong to the karma bhava. So if there's an arranging of karma to be reborn in a world of sensual pleasures, that's called karma bhava. So now we were born in the human world because in previous to this birth, our arranging of karma was such that it's to be reborn in the world of sensual pleasures. Okay, karma bhava. Then there's another type of existence called rupa bhava. Rupa bhava means arranging of karma such that you're reborn in form worlds. What that means is there are worlds where form worlds means if a person practices meditation and he reaches the level of jhanas, the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, and the fourth jhana, then that person is reborn in a Brahma world. If that person dies, even at the point of death, if that person is able to maintain a jhana state, then that person is reborn in a Brahma world, and those Brahma worlds are known as form worlds. In those Brahma worlds, there is no sensual pleasures. They pretty much live experiencing the bliss of jhana. It's completely, it's a completely different happiness there. It's nothing related to this happiness that people experience or beings experience in these sensual pleasures or in the worlds of sensual pleasures. Okay, so if a person's karma was such that it was arranging of karma was such that it's to be reborn in a form world, then that person is born in a Brahma world. Okay, now for example, say someone in this life, that person practices meditation and he's readily able to attain jhanas, the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana. So if that person dies, that person will be reborn. If the arranging of karma was such that he is to be reborn in the form world, he will be reborn in a Brahma world. That's second. Okay? Rupa bhava. And the third one is arupa bhava. Arupa bhava means if a person develops formless perceptions, it's called arupa jhana. You know, I know these are very deep things to learn, but these are things that exist in this world. So at least even it's not easy for us to explain. So I'm just explaining really on the surface. Okay, arupa bhava means formless perceptions. Okay, formless perceptions mean in those worlds, rupa or the form or this readily body, it's not very prominent. It's called asanya words. For example, it's like going into a deep sleep. You know, that this external body, it's not so prominent to that person. Now, when you're sleeping, you don't know where you are. You don't know. You're not aware of this body, but you're in a deep, different state. So it's kind of like that. I'm not saying it's like sleeping, but just for you to understand it. It's a formless state. And that is also attained when you develop formless perceptions. Now, for example, when the Bodhisattva went in search of liberation, he met two teachers. He met Alara Kalam and the Crown Buddha. And those teachers, what they taught, what they taught were these formless perceptions. Neva sanya, na sanya, akasanan chayatene, vinyanan chayatene. So it's if you develop such perceptions, formless perception, you will be reborn in a world where the form or this rupa is not so prominent. Okay, but then again, after the lifespan day is over, you're reborn again. For example, you know, Asita. Asita was King Suddhodana, one of King Suddhodana's teachers, right? So when the Bodhisattva was born, that Asita came to see the Supreme Buddha and came to see the Bodhisattva. And when he saw the Bodhisattva, he started to cry. And the reason he cried was he realized that by the time the Bodhisattva attains enlightenment, because he was very old, by the time the Bodhisattva attains enlightenment, he is going to be, because he practiced those formless perceptions, he is going to be reborn in those formless worlds. Once you're born in those formless worlds, you don't pay attention to the external world. Now, devas have the ability to look into the human world. So therefore, there's that connection with the human world or other worlds. But once you're reborn in the formless world, you don't pay direct your attention to the external. That's why I said. That's why it said it's like kind of like in a deep sleep. So you as long as their lifespan's there, you're there in that state, and then again you fall back into the samsara. So all of these three types of bhavas were discovered by the Supreme Buddha's wisdom. That's why it said unless a Buddha, whether Buddha appears or not, in this sutta, the Supreme Buddha very clearly teaches, because whether a Buddha appears or not, the fact that birth is caused by bhava, birth is caused by existence, is a reality, it's a natural phenomenon in this world. It's not something that a Supreme Buddha implements. Okay, but whether Buddha is there or not, it's something that's there in this world. However, once a Buddha appears, the Supreme Buddha understands, realizes this natural phenomena or this natural principle. And the Supreme Buddha realizes it, understands it, and teaches this reality to the world. And that's when people get to know how this this process of rebirth continues from life to life. Do you understand? Okay, so the Supreme Buddha is the one who teaches that there's something called bhava or existence, and that there are three types of bhava: Kama bhava, Rupa bhava, Arupa bhava. So depending on how karma is arranged, you're born in that state, in that world. So your birth is determined by bhava, existence. Is that clear? Okay. Then the Supreme Buddha teaches, O bhikkhus, the fact that existence is conditioned by clinging. Upadana Paccaya bhava. Okay, then the fact that existence is conditioned by clinging is a natural phenomena. It's a natural principle in this world. And it's there whether the Tathagata arises or not. It's there whether Tathagata arises or not. However, when a Tathagata appears, the Supreme Buddha realizes that there's a cause for bhava, there's a cause for existence, there's a reason behind it, and the Supreme Buddha discovers through his own wisdom that the cause for bhava is upadana. That's the Pali. Upadana paccaya bhava. Dependent on clinging, there is existence. Okay, and after the Supreme Buddha realizes this, the Supreme Buddha teaches, establishes this point, and teaches to the world so that others could also understand. And the Supreme Buddha teaches the fact this fact that existence is conditioned by clinging, it is a truth. It is an eternal truth. And it does not change with time. It never becomes untrue. Okay, it's an eternal truth. For as long as there's clinging, there's going to be existence. Upadana Paccaya Bhava. Okay, so what is Upadana? What is clinging? Okay, so this is something discovered by a Buddha and taught by a Buddha and explained by a Buddha and described by a Buddha. Unless a Buddha teaches this, nobody in this world would be able to understand this. Although this is a natural phenomenon that occurs, no one can understand it. They're all going in this samsara over and over again, right? But we don't know. In this long journey of samsara, for many times you have been reborn in world of sensual pleasures, such as the heavenly world, the human world, the ghost world, the animal world, the hell world. Right? For many times you have been born in the Brahma world also. Okay? And we have also been reborn in formless worlds. But do we remember any of it? No. Do we know how that happened? No. Right? But a Buddha appears and teaches such that a person is able to understand how this process works. When a person understands how this process works, then that person has the ability to put a stop to it, because this is all, it's a result of cause and effect. If the cause is there, the effect is there. If the cause is not there, the effect is not there, which we learned last time. Okay? So what is upadana? What is clinging? Okay, the Supreme teaches there are 4 types of upadana. There are 4 types of clinging. Okay, one is calm upadana. We cling to sensual pleasures. This is the most easiest to understand. We cling to sensual pleasures. If you take this entire world clings to sensual pleasures. Okay? And we are pretty much clinging what I remember I said last time. It's like being trapped to something. Okay, when it comes to sensual pleasures, have pretty much drawn us in so much that we are trapped by it. It's like sensual pleasures is what controls us. That's that powerful. Understand? We cling to sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures means we cling to beautiful things that we see from the eyes. We cling to things that are beautiful sounds. We cling to the nice smells, odors. We cling to tastes. Okay, we cling to nice sensations. Okay, so all of those are sensual pleasures, pleasing senses. Okay, so this entire world is trapped by sensual pleasures, kama upadana, and they're controlled by it. Right? That's the first one. And the second one is ditti upadana. Ditti upadana means we cling to weaves. Okay, there are many different types of weaves in this world. There are many types of religions in this world. There are many types of philosophies that people have introduced in this world. And people cling to these. They're trapped. So when some people adopts a view, their entire life is controlled by that view. Understand? So that is called ditti upadana. Because of clinging to wrong views, people again and again fall into this samsara.
Please, Ayaji, please explain once again. This one, the 2 padana color, the 2 padana.
Sorry?
Second one, you are now explaining this
Yeah,
one. Please repeat that.
Yeah, ditti upadana. Ditti. Okay, I will, next time I will write a little chart, including all of these things so that it's clear too. I wasn't able to do it this time, but I'll do it for sure for next time, okay? So the second upadana or second type of clinging is ditti upadana. Ditti means views, clinging to views. Okay, so some people cling to the view that there's absolutely nothing after death. They're controlled by it. So their entire life is controlled by that view. Right, so I can't go so much deep into these views, but as people living in the ordinary world, I'm sure you know different types of views people adopt, right? And they're controlled by it. They think they believe it's like they think that's the truth, but the unfortunate reality is all of those things, they are not the truth. Okay, so now, for example, if a person thinks there's absolutely nothing after this world, the only thing he does is just simply eat and drink and whatever misconduct he feels like doing, he would do it, right? And then what will happen? And because of clinging to that wrong view, he'll be dragged into the worlds of misery. That's just an example. Okay, so if you cling to these wrong views, the Supreme Buddha teaches, if there's, as long as there's clinging, there is existence. But if a person who clings to that view think, oh, there's nothing in this, there's nothing after death, so I don't need to do anything. Just because he thinks that, does it mean that his samsara is going to stop? No, right? He will continue to go suffering in the samsara. Okay, so this is one of the, especially in today's society, this is one of the most dangerous things. People cling to many wrong views and they go on in that path and they don't know that that path is taking them to huge precipice. Okay, Ditthi Upadana, that's the second type of clinging. And the third is Kama-upadana, Ditthi-upadana, Sila-upadana. Sila-upadana means clinging to ritualistic practices. Okay, now I have mentioned this in previous meetings, what this means. Okay, so some people, they practice different practices, rituals. And those rituals are what controls them. It completely controls their mind. Okay. Now, for example, during the Supreme Buddha's time, there were ascetics. Okay, they're one of their ritualistic practice. So thinking they are gonna become purified. Okay, when those ascetics, when they go on the alms round, they never accept food from women. Okay, so they think if they practice that ritual, that's going to lead to their purification. And there were some ascetics during the Supreme Buddha's time who thought if you don't, who practice rituals, they thought if you don't wear any clothes, if you're naked, that's going to lead to your purification. So that is, so they cling to that ritualistic practice. Okay, so those are just a few examples. So remember the teachers, if you cling to these ritualistic practices, because there were some people during the Supreme Buddha's time who thought if you eat grass, that's going to lead to purification. I think it's that concept is even here today in the present society, in some parts of the world. Okay, so they practice wrong ritualistic practices, they wrong practices, thinking that's going to lead to purification, and their entire life is controlled by that. Okay, during the Supreme Buddha's time, there's actually Sutta, and I will explain that to you right now for you to understand it. And that is, two people came to the Supreme Buddha And one of them said, Venerable Sir, I practice the ritualistic practice of following a cow. So what he does is he behaves like a cow. He's on all fours and he eats grass. Okay, and if I remember correctly, he asked, is this going to lead to my liberation? Okay, and with him came another friend of him, and he was following, if I remember correctly, he was following ritualistic practice of a goat. So he acts like a goat. And so he also thinks if he behaves like that, it's going to lead to purification. Okay, but in that the teaches, if you think like a goat, if you act like a goat, then what happens is in your next life, the existence, the bhava or the arranging of karma is created such that you will be reborn in the world of goats. The arranging of karma is such that if you practice, if you think like a cow, if you behave like a cow, the arranging of karma comes such that you'll be reborn in the world of in as a cow in the world of in the animal world. So that's how. So when you're controlled by that clinging, when clinging to those ritualistic practices are there, the existence comes about accordingly, and so you go on in this samsara. Okay, so that is the third upadana or third type of clinging. What's the first one? The first one is kama upadana, that is clinging to sensual pleasures. The second one is ditthupadana, which is clinging to views. And the third is silabbata upadana, which is clinging to ritualistic practices. And the fourth is attavada upadana. Attavada upadana means clinging to the view that there is a me, there's an I, there's something called myself here. That is the most difficult to get rid of. Okay, so the fourth one is Attava Dupada, that is the view that there's a me, there's an I, there's a mind, there's a myself here. So we all have this. So these upadana, they're very subtle. It's very difficult to understand. Right? That sense of me, I, myself is a result of that Attavad Upadana. Okay, the Supreme Buddha teaches that clinging is only abandoned or eradicated once you reach the level of an arahant. Understand? So if you become a stream entrant, the Supreme Buddha teaches, Ditti Upadana and Silabbata Upadana are abandoned. With that, so being a stream entrant is the first level of realization. So once you become a stream entrant, Ditti Upadana, you eradicate it. And Sila Bhutupada, you eradicate it. So that's why it said that a stream entrant never ever goes into a wrong view. Because he is said to have Samma Ditti. Samma Ditti means the right view. The right view means he looks at the world, he has the right way of looking at the world, because that view, that way of looking at the world is based on the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. He knows what suffering is, he knows what the cause of suffering is, he knows that the reason that we suffer is because of craving, and he knows that it's possible to be free from suffering, and he knows the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So he looks at the world with that understanding or realization. Okay, so once a person gets the right view in life or sammaditthi, That's why the Supreme Buddha teaches a stream mentor never ever reverses back. He only goes forward, and within a maximum of 7 lives, he attains Nibbana. Right? Once you come to Samadhi, once you enter the path to Nibbana, you never ever adopt a wrong view, because you have clear understanding of the Four Noble Truths. You know what's wholesome and what's unwholesome. You can readily recognize it. Therefore, you never go into wrong views. Okay? And you never ever adopt wrong ritualistic practices. Okay, you have a clear, you protect the precepts, and you know that because you know the right from wrong, you never go and adopt wrong practices and rituals. Okay, so once you become a stream mentor, those two clinging or those two padanas disappear. Sorry, not disappear, they're abandoned. Okay, and then once you become an anagami disciple, Kamapadana also is abandoned or eradicated. So that's why once you become an anagami disciple, you never return back to this world of sensual pleasures. You're born again, you're only born in the Brahma world where there is no sensual pleasures, and then you attain Nibbana. Okay? But if in this life you become an Arahant, then you eradicate all four upadanas, which is Kamapadana, Dityapadana, Silabbatupadana, and Attavadupadana. Okay, so this is only found and discovered by a Supreme Buddha. It's the Supreme Buddha's teaching. Unless the Supreme Buddha appears into this world and discovers these hidden secrets about this natural process of life, we would not be able to understand this. Okay, Supreme Buddha appears into this world, discovers it, realizes it, and opens it to the world, opens this up to the world so that others can also realize it. Okay? Then the Supreme Buddha teaches, O bhikkhus, clinging. Clinging is conditioned by craving. Clinging is conditioned by craving. This is a natural phenomenon. This is a natural principle. This is a natural order in this world. Whether Tathagata appears in this world or not, this exists. Okay, what is that truth? That is, clinging is conditioned by craving. If we say it the other way, tanha, paccaya, upadana. Because of craving, there is clinging. Okay? That is a natural phenomenon in this world. Whether Tathagata appears or not, it is there. But a Tathagata arises in this world and discovers this and realizes the reality of this. And after realizing it, the Supreme Buddha teaches, establishes, and opens it up to the world so that others can also understand it. Okay, so that's called tanha paccaya upadana. Okay, so clinging is there because of craving. Okay? Clinging is there because of craving. And the Supreme Buddha teaches there are 3 types of craving. Yes or no? This is the way the Supreme Buddha explains craving when teaching about Paticca And that is, the 3 types of craving are Kama Tanha, Bhava Tanha, Vibhava Tanha. What are the 3? Kama Tanha, Bhava Tanha, Vibhava Tanha. In English, we can call it Kama Tanha means craving for sensual pleasures. We crave for sensual pleasures. The second one is Bhava Tanha. We crave to exist. Vibhava Tanha means we crave not to exist. And it's a little bit difficult to understand, the third one. Kamatanha is quite clear. So tanha or craving is that nature that we are drawn, our minds are drawn to things that give us gratification. That's what tanha is. My teacher, Vinod Nuns, teaches it like that, so that we can understand what craving is. Craving is that nature of the mind, that our minds are completely drawn towards things that give us gratification. That's called tanha. Okay? Kama tanha means that drawing of this mind, that the mind is drawn towards beautiful sounds, beautiful forms, beautiful nice odors, nice taste, delicious taste, comfortable sensations. Because those 5 chords of sensual pleasures give us gratification. And therefore, our minds are drawn to it. That's what tanha or craving is. And the Sariputta teaches this tanha or craving is what makes us go in the samsara. This craving is like it's like, the Sariputta teaches a simile. Craving is like water. Okay. Now, once you plant a seedling, you plant a seedling in soil, but you don't water. Would that plant grow? Would it grow? No. Although the soil is there, although the plant is there, if there's no water, it's going to dry up. And it's never going to, there's never going to arise a plantling out of it. Okay? But the moment you put water, it grows quickly and sprouts. Right? Tanha or craving is like water, the Supreme Buddha teaches. It's like water. It gives, it's what nutrifies. It's what nutrifies this a cycle of birth and death. Okay, kama tanha. And in other points of the teaches tanha sibbani. This craving is like a needle. What does a needle do? It connects one piece of clothing with another. Right? So with a needle and a thread, we can sew clothes together. Craving is also like that. It makes us go from one life to another, and continuously go. So the first one is in craving, kama tanha. Kama tanha means craving for sensual pleasures. So that's something that's quite simple for us to understand. Okay, so that is within us. That's the reason that we are going in this samsara, kama tanha. The second one is bhavatanha. Bhavatanha means that craving to exist. Now, for example, if a person is not successful in this life, he thinks when he sees a successful person, oh, in my next life, I wish I would be like that. What is that? That is bhavatanha. Craving to be reborn again in a better world, in a better way. That is nutrified by bhavatanha. When you see, when you get to hear about the heavenly world, the heavenly pleasures, you think, oh, I wish I could be reborn in the heavenly world and to enjoy the heavenly pleasures. So you wish for that. You wish to be born to enjoy sensual pleasures that is of the divine state. So within us, now this is not to say that being reborn in the heavenly world is a bad thing. Okay. If a person is reborn in the heavenly world in his next life, at least he has the opportunity to practice this Dhamma again. But if a person wishes to be reborn in the heavenly world just for enjoying sensual pleasures, then there's not much point of it, because once that lifespan ends, you fall back into this samsara. Okay. So bhavatana means that the craving to be reborn or that craving to exist. That's why when people hear about nibbana, they think, then where, if you reach nibbana, then where will I go? They don't want to let go of the fact that they are not going to exist. That why? Because of that bhavatanha. It's a deep-rooted craving within us that we want to exist. We want to be. Okay? So the reason that we are here today is because we have this within us. Bhavatanha. Craving to be, craving to exist. Okay? The third one is called Vibhavatanha, that is craving to not exist. Now, craving to not exist here means some people think if all of this suffering is because of this body and the mind, if you can get rid of this body and the mind, then all the problems are gone. All the suffering is not there. So they wish to exist, but without the body and the mind. And that is called Vibhavatanha, craving for non-existence. So overtly, this body, they wish for a place of rebirth where this body is not there, the mind is not there. But they still want to be. Okay, that is called Vibhavatanha. So we all have these tanhas within us. Okay? Kamatanha, Bhavatanha, and Vibhavatanha. So as long as craving is there, if craving is there, what is the result? There will be tanha paccaya upadana. There will be clinging. Dependent on craving, there arises clinging. And if clinging is there, dependent on clinging, upadana paccaya bhava, the existence is going to be there. Existence arises. For as long as there's existence, bhava paccaya jati, there will be rebirth. And for as long as there's rebirth, for as long as one is reborn, there will be aging and death and all the sufferings in this world. Okay? So the Supreme Buddha teaches this is a natural phenomenon. This is a natural principle. This is a natural order that's in this world. Whether the Tathagata is there or not, this process will be there. However, Tathagata arises in this world and realizes this truth, this eternal truth, and realizes, understands, and teaches this world, establishes this point in this world, and opens it up to the world so that others could also understand it. Okay, and Supreme Buddha teaches this is an eternal truth. Tata, avitata. Avitata means this is an eternal truth that no one can change. This is an eternal truth that never becomes false. This truth will never become false, and this truth will never become otherwise. It will never change. That's why it's called an eternal truth. Okay, it's the discovery of the Supreme Buddha. Okay, so today I'm going to stop here. Okay, and the rest of the sutta I will continue to explain in the next session.